Hi and welcome to this video. In this video we really make a little bit more progress on the lower cowl, and so we're trying to turn the sows here into a purse. We're never going to make it a silk purse on the grounds that well, we really have got a sow's ear. That said, it will be practical and usable on the aircraft, but I'll show you how far I've got, so come on, join me. Well, this is where we left off at the last video, having bonded these two sections together. I'm now going to split the cowl again, and I'll cut off the lip at the front there, and you can sort of see the cutouts a bit to one side. Not worried about that, we can cure all that once we've got everything to fit together with carbon rings and bits at the front. So, and you'll see we've got an extra cutout there. That is because the cam sort of point here on the engine is fairly close, so I think it would eat its way through. So I decided I'd just make sure that I get this cowl to sit right, and we can deal with that later. I might make a little sort of bubble blister on the outside to cover that if I have to, or incorporate it into the air intake going into the oil cooler and around the engine bay. But we'll see. Right, let's get cracking. Well, I've trimmed off the excess bits around the edges and the back face, so I've got a reasonable joint going down here. The joint here is a bit big in play, but that's how life is. So nicking around this side, reasonable joint. The joint here is, well, what it is. I mean, bits have chipped out, and I've actually now got the carbon virtually on the surface here where the gel coat, and there was a void, you can sort of see. So there's going to be work needed in that area, and it fits well where it touches, really, which is not very far. Cutting off the lip there, I found that there was a big void, so I've had to trim down a bit further, and we've got a flat spot just here, which is not ideal. So it sort of goes straight up here, it goes straight up here, but it won't go straight up there. So I have to cut I'm going to be cutting a slot in here to allow me to pull this into the same profile as the top. And then on the other side, well, it's a real big disaster area. It really doesn't fit at all well. It sort of fits in line, just in places. So again, more work. I'll do this side first. I'll do the cut in here, and I'll put the juggle section in on that side to get that to conform, and then I'll play with this side and see what we need to do to get this side to conform. Well, that gives you an idea. You can really sort of see the gap there which needs to be dealt with, and the fact that I need to stress relieve this section here because it didn't have a curve in it. It was flat. So yeah, it lined up here and it lined up here, but it didn't line up in here. So I need to get extra material, and you can't stretch fiberglass like you can stretch aluminium. So cut in, that's now separated. I can now lay in the lip behind here for the attachment side. With that laid in position and everything all nice and secure, I can come back to it later and we can do the repair on the inside for that, and I can do a layup in here. So I'll have to chamfer this edge and get rid of all the filler that's there. I'll do that actually before I do the lip behind, so that I can lay in glass into that area there to make a nice nice job of getting rid of that. Then this lot will be skimmed with a constructional filler and normal filler, the same way as I end up doing the top up there. So a lot of work on this corner. The other corner, well, we'll get to it when we get to it, but it doesn't look as bad. I think it's going to be a case of with that held in line as it should be, it's reasonably in line there. It's just a big gap fill job here, and there we go. Yes, it's definitely a cowl that fits like a moustache on a chicken's lip. Well, it's not easy to try and lay up blind inside. I tried to put some chopped strand into the gap there. Didn't really work very well, so I'll probably have to deal with that again in the future. But trying to lay in 3 layers of twill inside there on the curve, going around the engine over the points of the screws, is not brilliant area to try to work in, but I think I've managed it. So all we can do is wait for it to cure. I'll have to try and do the same on the other side, and then we can tidy it all up. Once it's all set, I can separate the cowls and bits. I can tidy up the lips around there quite nicely. I'll be able to have the plastic off. I'll be able to deal with all this a lot here. I've now got both sides laid up. I'm going to let that little lot cure for 24 hours so that it's really firm and rigid, not in the green state as they say, and that will allow things so that when I take it off I can put it back together again without things changing shape too much. So tomorrow night when I come back from work, I'll take off these plastic plates on each side. I'll do the marking around the prop drive to the extent that needs to be. I can then drop the cowl off. I can trim the excess on these flanges so that they're sort of suitable. Put the thing together, gripper this section, and I can then do start doing the sort of layup repairs in there on both sides, and getting the gaps right on the back sections there, and that should hopefully start making the cowl more cowl like. Okay, I've filled the holes with the screws going through a bit of P40, a bit of a messy job of it, but there we go. It'll sand back, and I'll put tape on the upper cowl section, and we've got the cowl held in place with the grippers all around, so it's holding shape, much firmer. With all the carbon that's in the nose now, that is quite rigid, so we can crack on and start doing some of the chop strand trimmed and bonded in there with standard resin, and then P40 over the top for these areas, and make sure everything's leveled off, and then I can skim it with some P38 filler. And these bits down here I'm just going to fill with P40 to start off with. I'm going to clean it back, so I've got a key, and then put some P40 in it, and then give that a quick skim with some filler, and that should sort out all those bits. Once we've got all this front This needs to be levelled off a little bit. It's still got a little bit of a sort of a lip sticking up. So as soon as I've got that levelled off, we're away. Okay, so this has been filled with chop strand matting, a couple of layers of that mixed with resin and laid in there, and then as you can see now I've got the P40, which has just gone off, but the P40 coat over the top. That'll be sanded back and filler goes on. I've been worked on this side here. Do you remember there was a slit and a hole in? I'm sorry, I messed up with the video. I thought I turned the camera on a couple of points and I hadn't. But yeah, you can sort of see that that's been sanded back to flat where that was slightly proud. So you can see it's very dark. That's because there's very little glass there. It's almost at the carbon fibre which I put on the back, which gives you an idea how badly distorted that edge was. And then down here, well, that had the chop strand treatment and the P40, and then it's had P38 put over the top. So this was I made sure I'd sanded the top of the gel all around with 80 grit, put in the P40, sanded that back with 80 grit so you got a good key, and then put on the P38, and I don't know if it shows up, but you can see the scratch marks from the 80 grit. This has been sanded back with 240 now, and it's ready for its sort of wet sanding of probably 400 grit to start off with, similar to the way I did the top. A few scratch marks now in the top section, and I've taken off the paint there, but that's minor. That's all going to be dealt with later when I do the stopping any pinholes and things. So I'll continue to do that to the other areas on the cowl, the other side there, and these little patches. And once I've got that sorted out and sanded nicely, we can start the mammoth of chopping out around here for the cylinder heads. I'm going to work out exactly what I'm going to do at the front on a later date, on the grounds that I'm not doing any more on the cowl than doing the cutout here for the cylinder head, and dressing back this little edge on the lower side here to get rid of that sort of step we've got. I'm not doing any more than that until the engine's built, and I'm not building the engine until I've got the fuselage covered. This will be after I've checked the cowl fit and everything else. This will be stripped back to the crankshaft, the crankcase being put away separately, and I may paint the crankcase just for something to do, but I'm going to make sure that this engine's all lubricated, put away, because I haven't got space. Work on the rest of the fuselage. I've got some covering on its way, so we'll get that sorted out, or start getting that sorted out as soon as I have a couple of dry days and I can get the wing root section dealt with. I've got a few other little bits and pieces I want to twiddle around with as well, but hey ho. But wing root is the main stopper. A couple of U sections for around the undercarriage metal work, and then I could cover the lower section of fuselage if nothing else. So a little bit of work still to go. Well, that's it, folks. I haven't progressed from that last little snippet that you saw, on the grounds that I got a little bit of a project on at work at the moment. Quite a big project, to be absolutely honest, and as such I've had to do a little bit of planning in my spare time, trying to look at how to get the project to fruition. So last 2 evenings have been lost. So that's it for the week, really. Hopefully I'll get a chance coming up in this in the next video, next 7 days worth of work, to get the cowl finished off to the level which I said I was hoping to get to this video. Hey ho, you know, I have pretty much worked on the aircraft non-stop, with only a few days off for holiday and 1 or 2 days off for other bits and pieces, so it's good to have a little bit of a change in regime. Anyway, look after yourselves and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.